Hi, I'm Dick Lyons, and welcome back to I Remember Radio. Today's program is something a little different. You may have heard the expression before, we could do another whole show about that. Well, that's what we're doing today. When we last chatted with Shotgun Tom Kelly, we touched on his interest in trains. Our producer has the same obsession. A year ago, he did a program with Johnny K, remembering KHJ TV kids show host, Engineer Bill. And since Johnny and Shotgun are such good friends, he thought getting these two radio legends together for some train talk would be really cool. Since trains are not among my passions, I'm going to turn the program over to Johnny and Shotgun to get this show rolling on the track. And I will watch it all with the rest of you. So, Shotgun, Johnny, all aboard.
Thanks so much, Dick. It's great to be along with you. In case people don't know, both Shotgun Tom Kelly and myself are train enthusiasts, right, Shotgun?
Oh, you better believe I am. I got a beautiful layout in my garage. It's on my pool table. And when I want to play pool, I just press a button and the thing goes up in the rafters. And on the bottom of the layout is my pool lights. Yeah, it's really nice.
And you know who else is also a train enthusiast? The executive producer of this program, Mike Knert, has one of those trains like Walt Disney had. You can ride it all along his property up there in Oregon.
That is fantastic. Oh, look at that. That is marvelous.
Who wouldn't want to have one of those for their very own in their own backyard?
Oh, yeah. I'd charge admission for the kids to come over the yard, man, and take a ride.
You got to be the envy of railroad enthusiasts everywhere.
You know, I love that Santa Fe War Bonnet theme. That's the 347C.
Well, for sure, Shotgun and I are going to make a special visit to Oregon to visit you, Mike, and see that in person.
We definitely are. Oh, that's great.
As luck would have it, both Shotgun and I hired the same people to actually construct and build our layouts. It's a married couple by the name of Lloyd and Betsy Klusner of Lloyd's Layouts.
They are in Paramount. Paramount is where they moved their new facility.
You should really check out their website and see what they can do. For me, they built a 16-foot by 6.5-foot mixed scale layout. I have the old American Flyer S gauge on it, as well as a lot of G scale. And for Shotgun, they did a different kind of layout.
Yeah, strictly HO, and I've got a yard, and I've got a downtown area, and I have a residential area. And of course, being in radio and television, Johnny, I had to have, which is the hero of my layout. It's a radio and television station.
Well, the theme of my layout was I was always in love with Disneyland because I was around when Disneyland first opened. I just was intrigued with Walt's love for trains. I wanted to recreate all of my favorite things. My layout is not to scale. It's a hodgepodge of different scale buildings and trains and people and whatnot. However, in Shotgun's case, your layout is based upon your career and San Diego, right?
Yeah, that's right. I've got my billboard when I did mornings at B100. That is on the layout. I got a movie theater. I have a downtown area with an Italian restaurant, hardware store. And then I have a residential area where I actually have a church and a cemetery, which I put one of my buddies, Jack Vincent, who I used to work with over at KCBQ. He passed away at 99, almost made it to 100.
Now, my first love of trains, coupled with a kids' television program on Channel 9 in Los Angeles. It was called Cartoon Express with Engineer Bill. Bill Stella was the host, and he would show Gumby cartoons and run trains and give away prizes and have games that the kids could participate in, like red light, green light, which is how he encouraged kids to drink their milk. That was the genesis of my love for trains. How about for you, Shots?
Well, I'll tell you, you bring up Engineer Bill. I think he was a true pioneer because a lot of the television stations around the country, they wanted a host with a theme. And they saw Engineer Bill as a theme. Well, down in San Diego, where I grew up, we had a guy by the name of Johnny Downs. And Johnny Downs was a children's show host. And of course, they made him a railroad engineer. Now, here's the deal. My dad was a real railroad engineer. I remember he came home. I must have been about 6 years old. He said, well, this actor came over and I had to get on my knees and pull the 347C into the depot, and he had his hands on the dashboard. And what happens? He got off the 347C, the red war bonnet, and he walked across the yard into the beautiful depot that we have. And as soon as he opens the door of the depot, boom, they cut to the set, and he comes on the set and he goes, howdy, 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 kids. Good to see you. Good to see you. They wanted a show like Engineer Bill. So they turned Johnny Downs into a railroad engineer, and that's what he became. It's again, Engineer Bill, I think, started it all.
And every young boy and a lot of girls wanted to have a layout, whether it be HO or Lionel or American Flyer. But unfortunately, even back in the day, trains were really expensive, model trains, that is. And today, it's almost prohibitive, the cost of a locomotive. Shotgun, what can you spend on one of your engines if you go to a train store?
Like my steam train was $700. That's another train that my dad actually operated out of San Diego, and he brought President Truman in on that particular train on the Whistle Stop tour, and that's a very famous train today because they refurbished it. It's the 3751 steam train. I believe I got it for the Train Shack in Burbank. I believe I paid $750. Just for that steam train.
Although you can get starter sets at a relatively reasonable price.
For example, I paid $350 for this one.
For one engine.
One
right?
engine, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's interesting how in our lifetime, we watch things come in and out of fashion. For instance, there was the day when all kids loved cowboys on TV and wanted to buy coonskin caps like Davy Crockett or
right. I had one.
And then the trains came into popularity. But what happened is Sputnik and science became popular. So suddenly space was the thing that happened. And for the television host in Los Angeles, Engineer Bill, they actually transitioned him out of being an engineer of a train into being at a control console for very space adventure themed. And even that is gone today. So time moves on and we try to keep the hobby alive. I know, Shotgun, you do with a bunch of other guys because there's an incredible layout in San Diego, right?
Oh, yeah, the San Diego Model Railroad Museum. That's what this patch is. I'm a member of the museum. And as a matter of fact, after the Zoom, I'm going to go down and run some trains. At that museum, it's very near the world famous San Diego Zoo. And in that museum, they have 5 layouts. They have an O gauge layout. They have 2 HO layouts, my club and the La Mesa Club. And they have the N gauge layout, which is back in the corner. And then they have a toy train layout with we call that the 3 railers. So when you come to the San Diego Model Railroad Museum, there is something for everyone. But the 2 layouts that are HO are actually modeled after a real area. The La Mesa Club is the Tehachapi, and they did a beautiful job with the Tehachapi loop up there in the Tehachapis. To get that elevation, the train has to go around in a loop and just kind of loop themselves over those Tehachapis. Our layout was done by it replicates the San Diego, Arizona Eastern. And that was put together by John D. Spreckles, the sugar guy.
All of us model railroaders have a favorite part of our own layout. In my particular case, it's the American Flyer train that runs around the Disneyland exhibit that I have. And that's because Engineer Bill gave that to me. I won a drawing when he made a personal appearance at the supermarket one weekend. And that American Flyer frontiersman, they call it, is the favorite part of my own particular layout. How about for you, Shaka?
Well, you know, on my layout, I think I always wanted that television and radio station with a tower on top of the hill.
There was a wonderful experience building it, but where we get our pleasure now is sharing it and having people come over and see it, right, Shots?
Oh, that's absolutely. I love, you know, the kids coming by, walking the dog, the parents hey, you want to see my layout? Come on in. And I invite people into my garage and watch those kids, and their eyes get real big. And not only the kids, but the parents, they really are enthralled. They go, oh my God, look at this. This is incredible. And that gives me a great amount of joy, just like you, Johnny. I mean, people come over to your house in Toluca Lake. One of the things you'd like them to see, and they want to see it, is your train layout. As a matter of fact, Stevie Wonder's brother wanted to come over because he'd heard about your layout, Milton Hardaway, and him and his son just fell in love with it.
We even had Lloyd and Betsy photograph a time lapse of the year and a half it took to create your layout. We'll show a little bit of that here right now. And Shotgun, explain what's going on.
Okay, well, first of all, folks, you got to realize Johnny K is not only a great programmer, but he's an incredible director. He's got a beautiful suite. As a matter of fact, he does professional videos for people all over the country. Johnny knows his stuff about video. He had an idea. He said, why don't we take a cell phone and why don't we, put it on a pulley and lift it up above the workbench that Lloyd is working on my layout. And that's how we got this time-lapse photography. So what you're seeing right now is a year and a half's work in 60 seconds.
And Shotgun, we really need to pay homage to Lloyd and Betsy Klusner because they are master craftsmen and artists in their own right.
Oh, absolutely. He's a carpenter. She does all the scenic stuff, and he's such a precision guy. I mean, when he builds a layout, it's correct. As a matter of fact, if you recall, I saw your layout, and I didn't know who did it. And you said, well, Lloyd and Betsy Klusner built my layout, and that started me in wanting to build my layout. And I got to salute them because they you give them an idea, they put it on the blueprint, they get into the computer, and they make your idea come alive.
They're such a pleasure to work with because I would find, especially for my Disneyland theme, I would find a new prop, whether it be the rocket to the moon in Tomorrowland or a building for Main Street. And I'd show up with this new thing and say, any way we can work this in? And they always did. They were very accommodating.
Oh, absolutely. Same way with me.
I want to urge anyone who's watching this who might have a train set, no matter how small, to do it.
Yeah, do it. Johnny is absolutely right. If you've always wanted a train layout, don't wait. Go to a train store. A couple of the ones that Johnny and I like, Arnie's down in Westminster, is just a supermarket train store. It is supreme. I mean, it's neat, it's clean. They explain what engines they have, what scale that you want. And they even have, if you want a bigger scale, and that's right, Johnny, they have a place next door that has O gauge and LGB.
That's right. Right next door are the Lionel, American Flyer, and G scale. There seem to be two camps in model railroading. People who just want something simple and it doesn't have to be lifelike. And then there's this other camp that wants everything to look exactly like it should be in real life. It doesn't matter. Don't build for someone else. Whatever you enjoy, whether it's in scale or out of scale or a combination of scales, simple or complex, just do it. It is one of the few pleasures in life that you can give yourself.
You really should. And join a train club like mine. There's a lot of guys down at the San Diego Model Railroad Museum. They don't have layouts. Their layout is the club layout. They buy trains, they bring them down, they run them on the layout, and then they go home. We have a guy on our club. His name is Jerry Jackson. This guy takes a picture of a real hopper with graffiti on it. And then he takes that picture and he duplicates it. And that's another facet of model railroading.
One of the benefits of belonging to one of these groups is, and Shotgun's a perfect example of it, he didn't know how to weather anything. He didn't know how to use paint and create buildings and make them look real. But you've been learning all of this from your pals at the club, right?
I have. As a matter of fact, I had fear of doing my own stuff.
You feel so proud of yourself when you've accomplished something by doing it yourself, right, Shots?
Absolutely. I wanted to put we call them Freds, flashing rear end device, Freds. It's a light on the back of the last car. And they actually sell the wheels with the light. And so I took the old wheels off and put these new wheels on, and now I have what they call a Fred.
Now, earlier you had mentioned your father was an actual engineer. Well, recently you got to go to Sacramento and have a once in a lifetime experience.
Oh, that was definitely wonderful. You know, my dad had the passenger run between San Diego and Los Angeles. And when I was 9 years old, I went to work with my dad. And in fact, this is a red war bonnet Santa Fe train, and there's only one left, and it's in the California State Railroad Museum. Well, I do a few plugs for them, and they said, "Shotgun, you've done so many things for us. What can we do for you?" And I said, "Well, you know, my dad, when I was 9 years old, he wouldn't let me up there because of against the safety rules. But now I'd like to be able to just at least climb up there and sit in the same seat that my dad sat in." And they said, "Is that all you want to do?" I said, "Yeah, I'll be satisfied with that." They said, "Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we pull it out of the museum and we'll push it with an Amtrak?" And that's what they did. I got to sit in the same seat that my dad sat in on the 347C Santa Fe engine for 14 miles. Now you can see it on YouTube. And all you got to do is go Shotgun Tom Rides, RIDES, Shotgun Tom Rides, and click on the first one, the war bonnet right behind me. And you will see me ride that for 14 miles.
And you can find my layout on YouTube as well. Just search for My Disneyland LGB. We were beginning to mention train stores and Barney's in Westminster. Yep. Right next door are the Lionel, American Flyer, and G Scale. Yeah, go in and say hi to our friend Kevin Honda. Tell him that Shotgun Tom Kelly or Jhani K told you to drop by.
And don't forget up near your house in Burbank, there's the Train Shack.
I want to make sure we mention them because they're good buddies as well. Yeah. Is the Whistle Stop still?
Yeah, world famous Whistle Stop in Pasadena. Yeah, that's probably the oldest train store in the Los Angeles area, you know, and that's in Pasadena. And that is also a great place to go.
And there's a lot of online sources too.
Yeah, you know, and also when you buy yourself an engine, like this engine wasn't loud enough for me. I wanted a bigger horn. So our good friend, Kevin Honda, he put some electronics in. He took the old electronics out and he put a new speaker in there, a bigger speaker, and a new sound card. And now this engine is 3 times as loud as it was when I purchased it out of the box.
That's something that was quite eye-opening to me, that there's so much technology involved in model railroading now. Just because you bought an engine and it only has a light and maybe a simple whistle, that can all be changed. You can have it sound as realistic as you want.
That's right.
So you should take advantage of those opportunities and learn about them as well. Now, some people watching this Zoom video like to know about the behind the scenes thing. Now, in regards to Shotgun's video, they were completing his layout in a workshop in Santa Fe Springs, the builders. And Shotgun and a couple of our friends went down there, myself, and we realized that we wanted to actually shoot his train video there rather than in Shotgun's garage in San Diego. So we went down with some green screen. So what you're seeing here is green screen behind the layout.
One thing that you did, and I want you to explain this, Jhani, when you were making that video, I believe it was raining at my house, but you wanted somebody to take a picture of me as I leaned out of my car. Why don't you take it from there?
Oh, yeah. There is a scene where the model train of Shotgun's father's locomotive passes by. But of course, the train cab had empty windows because it's a model train. I said, I need you to sit in your car, open the window and hang your arm out like that. Take a still of that and send it to me. And then I composited the moving shot of the train with Shotgun's arm in the window. And here's the final results.
Is that cool? Look at that. That steam engine. And I'm the fireman there. I got my elbow out.
Now, for you guys who want to take pictures of your train layout, let's First of all, talk about still pictures. The best way to make a realistic looking and interesting still picture is if you have the train here, and I'm part of the background, all this is background, you want to focus only here. If you're on an iPhone, you can go into portrait mode and it will focus just here and kind of blur the background. That's how you get those wonderful shots. If you want the shot of what it looks like from the headlight of the train going down the tracks, the way we accomplish that is we use a small camera. What you do is you put the camera on top of a flat car, and then you put an engine behind it, but the engine is pushing the flat car. I'll give you another little tip, which is if the train is going to make a left turn, that part of the video, when you set the camera on top of the flat car, you want to move it slightly to the left, the same direction as the rails. Otherwise, it won't look right. You'll notice it looks like, wait a minute, the camera's pointing that way off the track as I'm turning left. So you got to line it up. We had a lot of fun at doing that. We told you before in the program what a wonderful experience it is to share your layout with others. Well, if you can't do it in person, put it on YouTube. Let other people see it. You'll inspire them, and the layout will live on beyond the trains themselves.
Yeah, absolutely correct, man. So we're in a video world, and it's amazing what you can do with your iPhone. You know, when I'm on Sirius XM 60s Gold Channel 73, I talk about my layout, and it's amazing how many emails that I get from people saying, "Oh, by the way, I watched your video." Johnny's absolutely right. I watched your video, and I was so impressed that now I want to start my layout.
Anyhow, Dick, we certainly appreciate you allowing us to explain our thoughts about the hobby and share our own experiences today.
Yeah, thank you, Dick.
Thanks, Johnny and Shotgun. That was a great show. I really enjoyed it. In fact, I think I may be coming down with train fever. I'm going to go look at my garage and see if I could put a layout descending from the ceiling. That's so cool. Thanks again for watching. And to quote Engineer Bill, happy highball, engineers.